After 3 intense days of testing, the dust has finally settled in Bahrain, providing teams with a much-needed opportunity to get grips with their brand new 2023 cars before the season opener. With high stakes and a competitive field, every team is hoping to make this year the most successful yet. Let's take a look at each team's performance during the pre-season and what to expect when the season begins. As always, testing is just the beginning of the journey, but it does offer an intriguing glimpse into who's made the most progress over the winter break. Of course, it's important to take these results with a pinch of salt, given the many variables at play, but there are still some noteworthy takeaways. The Williams team has faced its fair share of challenges recently, with the departure of key technical figures causing some concern among fans and pundits alike. However, despite these setbacks, the team has managed to produce a solid platform for the upcoming season, demonstrating its resilience and determination to succeed. Although the car may not have the same level of downforce and pace as some of its rivals, the fact that it performed well during testing is a promising sign for the future. Furthermore, the team is clearly focused on creating a car that is less affected by the wind, which could give it a crucial advantage in certain conditions. As former Red Bull driver Alex Albon noted, Williams appears to be in a better position than it was this time last year, suggesting that the team has made significant progress in a relatively short amount of time. With a strong showing in the laps completed charts, Williams also appears to be well prepared heading into the first race of the season in Bahrain. As the dust settles on pre-season testing, it's clear that McLaren is facing an uphill battle heading into the opening round of the 2023 Formula 1 season. The team completed the fewest laps of any outfit, and their car appeared to lack both pace and on-track poise, leaving many wondering whether the Woking-based squad is ready for the challenges that lie ahead. While the team has been open about its struggles, admitting that it has missed its aerodynamic efficiency targets, the situation on track is even more concerning. The car appears to be poorly balanced, with Lando Norris describing it as a knife-edge machine that feels worryingly similar to last year's model. To make matters worse, there were also issues with the inner front wheel fairings, which required constant attention throughout testing. It's clear that McLaren has its work cut out if it hopes to compete at the front of the grid this season. Team principal Andrea Stella has confirmed that a major upgrade is in the works, with a focus on a couple of components where there's quite a bit of lap time sensitivity. However, it remains to be seen whether this will be enough to turn the team's fortunes around. With a slow start to the season looking increasingly likely, McLaren will need to dig deep and find a way to unlock the full potential of its car if it hopes to salvage its campaign and compete with the best teams in Formula 1. You're enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on other amazing videos. So all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. The Alpha Tauri team had a bit of a roller coaster ride during pre-season testing, with an early pace that looked to be troubling for the team, until Yuki Tsunoda put in a blistering lap on the final day of testing. While it's important not to be swayed too much by one quick lap on low fuel, it's clear that Alpha Tauri has made some progress in addressing last year's lack of grip in high-speed corners. However, the team still faces some major challenges, particularly in the slow corners where the car appeared to be a handful. Technical director Jody Eggington has admitted that the team's setup experiments have not always yielded the expected results, suggesting that some underlying issues still need to be addressed. On the plus side, AlphaTauri managed to complete more laps than any other team during testing, which should give them a solid foundation to build on going forward. As with all things in Formula 1, the true test of AlphaTauri's progress will come when the cars hit the track in Bahrain. Haas had a solid showing during pre-season testing, clocking in as the 6th fastest team on the grid. However, there are some concerns that they could slip down the ranks once the season gets underway, with Alpine looking like a strong contender to move ahead. That being said, Haas does have a lot going for it. The team's reliability looked good during testing, and the car appears to be free of any major on-track weaknesses. While it may lack the spark of last year's machine, there's still reason to be optimistic. As Kevin Magnussen pointed out, there's no reason why Haas shouldn't be aiming for points this season. While it may not have the outright pace of some of its rivals, the team's consistent midfield performance could make it a dependable contender throughout the year. Ultimately, Haas will need to strike a balance between pushing for performance and ensuring that they don't sacrifice reliability in the process. But if they can find that sweet spot, there's every chance that they could surprise a few people this season. It's difficult to predict whether Alfa Romeo will be able to replicate its promising testing result when the season begins, but if they do so, then we are in for a very competitive midfield battle. There were definitely some positive signs at the test, and both drivers seemed pleased with the progress the team has made over the winter. With a big technical effort behind them, Alfa Romeo looked like the most convincing of the secondary midfield teams, alongside Haas and AlphaTauri. While it's unlikely that Alfa Romeo will be able to maintain its position at the top of the secondary midfield throughout the season, there's a good chance that they'll be able to start the year hanging on to the upper midfield. And in a season that's likely to be as closely contested as this one, that could make all the difference. Of course, the team will need to continue making progress throughout the year if they want to stay competitive. But for now, Alfa Romeo looks like a solid midfield contender. Alpine appears to have been running a very specific program during testing, focusing mainly on longer runs with high fuel loads. This could explain why they didn't post impressive lap times. But it also suggests they were working on something more significant. There's a confidence within the team that they know where they stand in terms of performance, and they may have been holding back to keep their true potential hidden. This means they could be much faster when the season begins. With the talented Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly behind the wheel, the Alpine has what it takes to surprise everyone and move up the order. So while their testing results may not be impressive, Alpine will prove to be a force to be reckoned with this season. Mercedes may have dominated the sport for years, but their performance in testing has left a lot of question marks hanging over the team. While the team's initial optimism on day one of testing was encouraging, the following days saw the team struggle with confusion and problems with the car's ride and stability. While these issues have been addressed to some extent, it's clear that the team still has work to do to unlock the full potential of the car. It's possible that Mercedes could find a significant upside to the car, which would allow them to compete against Ferrari and Red Bull. For now, it's hard to judge the true potential of the team, but it's clear that they have work to do if they want to retain their position at the top of the sport. Aston Martin came into pre-season testing feeling relatively optimistic about making progress in 2023, and it appears that that positivity is well placed, with them showing some decent one-lap pace and also some very strong race pace. The test started with difficulties, with Lance Stroll having to miss out thanks to injuries caused by a cycling accident. Whilst his replacement for the test, Felipe Drugovich, saw the car grind to a halt inside the opening few minutes of day one. But after that, things really seemed to pick up for the Silverstone-based team. They could certainly be this year's dark horses. Ferrari has been around the block a few times and knows what it takes to compete at the front of the grid. And while they may not have quite matched Red Bull's pace in testing, they are certainly closer than they were last year. The SF21 looks to be a well-balanced car with decent speed on both short and long runs. And with two strong drivers in Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, Ferrari should be able to take the fight to Red Bull and Mercedes. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in Formula 1, but it would be a surprise if Ferrari weren't at or near the front of the field when the lights go out in Bahrain. Red Bull has set an ominous tone ahead of the 2023 season with a dominant display in preseason testing. The RB19 looked incredibly strong on track, and it appears that the team has once again produced a car that is a cut above the rest. Verstappen's feedback was positive, and the team has been working hard to refine the car's setup and build their understanding of its capabilities. Red Bull's performance was so impressive that even their closest rivals are left scratching their heads, wondering how they would be able to compete with such a formidable opponent. With the opening race of the season just around the corner, it's clear that Red Bull will be the team to beat. Now, over to you. What's your top 5 prediction for the 2023 F1 season? Let me know in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.